Hi, my name is Claire, and today I will be interviewing Mrs. Peel, the middle school choir teacher at Westfield Community School. All right, Ms. Peel, so what are your main duties and responsibilities here?
So I teach all of the middle school choirs, so sixth, seventh, and eighth grade choir, in addition to honor choir. And basically, starting from the ground up, like sixth grade, we start them with you've seen it, starting them with the basics and then building on that. You'll see it in every year going forward that they're just building on the skills that we start in sixth grade. And then putting on concerts. So we do 3 concerts per every grade level is required to have 3 concerts per year, I believe is what it is. So putting on concerts. And then I also run crochet club here, which is extracurricular, but it's still part of my day.
That's awesome. So with all the classes that you teach, what is a typical workday like for you?
So I only teach choirs, the grade level choirs. So on the days that I have honor choir, it's 4 rehearsals per day. I don't teach lessons like band and orchestra do. I wish that we did, but we do not have lessons. So in between rehearsals, I am either writing assessments or unjamming the copier.
Yeah. What skills and training are necessary for your position, and how do you acquire these skills for from school or on the job?
Going off that last question, unjamming the copier, you need to know how to
Yeah.
do, which you learned on the job. So basically, a lot of so going back to it, the skills for sure for choir, especially piano, is a huge, since our instrument is our voice, but having the piano as that tool to help you during rehearsals every day. I will admit that I was not, when I first got hired, piano skills were not all that great, especially when it's like leading warm-ups and going up and down by half steps and things like that. It was not very good. But then as you're forced to do it every day, you get better. So, and I feel like even you improved, from
I'm
day
in piano
one.
lessons.
And you're in piano now, right? So it's just like one of those things where it's just, that's one of the things you need to learn, or that you just get better with, or better at on the job. Also classroom management with the nature of our job, we have naturally bigger groups than 30.
Yeah.
Or most choirs are bigger than 30, depending on where you're at. But being able to have that classroom management with a huge group, which again you have seen this semester with 80 kids in the room,
huge.
is how do you manage that every day? So, and again, that's one thing that I think it gets easier. It's still difficult, even after doing it for so long, but it gets easier to figure out how to put out those little fires, I think, day to day.
Definitely.
Yeah.
How important do you think getting along with other people in your career is for your job?
Very, very important.
Very important.
Especially because when you're with music, it's like you only have, well, for choir especially, you are the only choir teacher in your building. So you have to be able to learn how to collaborate with the band and orchestra teachers, and then district-wide, especially here, being able to have that. Luckily here in D300, the middle school choir teachers all have a really we're pretty close.
Yes.
And we work really, really well together, when we have to come together for choral festival. So I think things like that, it's we don't get to see each other or work with each other that often. So I think that being able to, reach out to each other when we need to, if we need something, is really important. So, so both within your specific field, like choir, as well as music in general.
Yeah, and I feel there's always a music hallway at the school, so it's important that everyone in that hallway supports each other.
Yes, and it's I've seen schools where that isn't always the case, and it's it's just not a good environment. You want your music hallway to be a happy place.
So why did you choose to work here at Westfield?
So I actually student taught here for elementary music, and I think that was one of the biggest reasons, because I loved working here and I loved all the people who worked here, the principal and everything. So even though it wasn't what I student taught, I knew I really wanted to be in the building and thought that I might have a good chance since I student taught here.
Yeah.
So after I got the job. I think I've told you, I got it after the school year had already started because of some last minute changes. So there was a lot that happened to get me into the classroom, but that happened, and now here I am 13 years later.
Yes. Is there anything that you wish you'd realized in the world of work when you were my age? Or about the world of work?
I don't actually, that question's hard. I don't know. That's a hard one.
Like when you were like picking what you wanted to do when you were older, was there anything that like you wish you would have known before going into the position?
I guess with choir, especially, like just kind of knowing. We are in the music hallway. Just I guess kind of knowing what it would involve, like it in terms of recruiting. Like you don't just walk into a
No.
choir program. Like I really had to build that. I had to rebuild that, I think, when I got here. So I think I wish I would have known more about the recruitment process of it, because with music, it's like kids are not required to take our class. And so
No.
I wish that I had known more about the whole, like, well, how do I get kids in my classes?
Yeah.
And, depending on where you work, contractually, it's different from district to district. Like for us, it's like, some districts, you need to have a certain amount, like a minimum amount of kids.
Oh.
Other districts, it's student contact time. You get paid by that. So it's like, I kind of wish I had known more about
Yeah.
all of that before going into it.
If someone was a new hire at Westfield, what do you think they should do in advance to be successful?
If they were
A new hire at Westfield.
I would say to make sure that you make friends, like not make friends, but
Yeah.
be familiar with the people on your team, and the people that you can, like your team leaders and people that you can reach out to, and just to kind of make yourself visible. I guess just in, like in the hallways, the kids they don't like when they don't know who, who
No.
that teacher is, when they are wondering like, who is that or what grade do they teach? So I think it's important to make yourself visible, and to make sure and to be approachable, so that teachers and students can come to you if they need to.
Yeah. And is there any other advice that you have about teaching music specifically?
My biggest thing is to take piano and stay in piano and practice piano every day. For choir specifically, and I know we've talked about this too, for warm-ups, it's just like being able to, start class. And I do it sometimes where I'll write myself
Yeah.
a plan of, these are the warm-ups I want to do today. But then eventually, instead of writing them down every day, being able to just have all of them in your back pocket to just go as you need to, or adjust like on the fly. Like if something isn't sounding right, then it's like, okay, we're gonna go to
Yeah.
this warm up instead, because I think that would be better for you today.
Yeah.
So being able to shift your plan, I think, easily, and especially with music, all three of us, band, orchestra, choir, I can have a lesson plan,
Yeah.
and we've had this before where we have a plan, but then if you notice during the rehearsal, like, actually this needs more work, we're going to shift
Yeah.
from that plan and do this instead today. We'll come back to this tomorrow.
It's kind of
And
a
you see it all the
day-by-day
time.
thing,
It
yeah.
is. And you see it being in choir.
Yes.
Like, I'm sure you guys do that too. So
All the time.
You just have to be flexible day to day.
Yeah. What other personality traits, skills, or knowledge do you think are important to have for being a music teacher or a teacher overall?
I think that, well, especially a middle school teacher, a middle school music teacher, I think that it's important that you are approachable and that kids can
Yes.
trust you and like want to, and feel safe in your classroom. Like that's what kind of gets me through the job every year, like on the
Yeah.
hardest days, when kids are just like, no, I feel safe in your classroom,
Yeah.
or I feel safe to like raise my hand and like share my thoughts in here, because we've created that environment of
Yeah.
you are safe here and nobody's going to judge you. And I just feel like you need to be able to make sure the kids trust you, but also being, setting a boundary and being like, okay, so, here's my expectations. Like, we're
Yeah.
not just, the amount of times I've had to tell kids, like, we're not BFFs. Like, we are,
yeah.
we're not friends, but
Yeah.
we can still have a good time in here. So it's like setting that fine line between,
Yeah.
yes, we want to have fun and learn, but also you're still the student and
Yeah.
I'm still the teacher, kind of thing.
Yeah. And what other questions did I not ask yet that I should ask?
See,
Or
we're
that
just
I should
talking about
have.
this. I feel like you asked about when I first got day to day. I don't know. I feel like that covers most of it. Other things that I would have, like people in the building. I feel like this is a small one, but people in the building that you should know, or like you should
Yeah.
be on good terms with, are like your secretaries and your
Okay.
custodians. Like
Yeah.
you will be reaching out to them for many
Yeah.
things, and it's important that they know who you are and
Yeah.
things like that. So I think being again, being approachable by everyone else in your building, like not just the kids, but colleagues and
Yeah.
people in the office and wherever.
Getting
so
to know kind of everyone around the
yeah,
school.
it's important because you want them to know who you are too. So I just think that in a school that's really important.
Yeah.
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 But yeah.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.